Hi, I'm Pete, and welcome to Just a Few Acres Farming. Happy New Year 2024. First video of the new year. I'm going to take you around the farm, talk about each of our enterprises, each of the different types of animals that we raise, the state of each, where we're going with each, where we've been with each, potential problems with each. And then I have a piece toward the end about my video format, what it should be going forward. I have some questions for you all, why I haven't been around much in the last month. So let's get started. Before we go though, I was standing next to this and I thought how pretty it is. This is Queen Anne's lace that's just stayed standing pretty even in the wintertime. You got to notice these little things. Let's begin with the cattle. Cattle in the barn hanging out. Some cattle in the winter pasture. That one's playing King of the Hill. Oh, hi Patty. I still get questions sometimes about what breed of cattle we raise. They're Dexters. They're an old Irish breed that is just about perfect for the way we farm. They're hardy in almost all weather conditions, very few health problems, easy calving, great flavor of meat, raised only on grass. I spent a lot of early videos talking about the breed and talking them up. I still feel the same way. I would never raise anything else besides Dexters. And we started with 3 Dexters. We have about 30 head now, calves and bulls and steers, everybody included. I think we're going to stay stable at that number. It seems to be a good kind of balance between buying in some hay, making some of our own hay, what our land will carry, how much manure output there is to help fertilize our fields. It seems to be the nice spot for us. This new facility that we built works perfectly as far as we've seen so far. We bed the cattle once a week, as I showed in the last video. They're staying dry in here, even though the weather has been miserably wet and rainy for the last, I don't know how long, 3 weeks or a month. The cattle are doing well. I can't ever envision not raising cattle. They're profitable for us, selling direct to consumer at the farmer's market. Just a great business to be in from all standpoints. I don't see our cattle business changing in 2024. We're in a process of refinement always with the way we raise our cattle. The one big thing I do see is we're going to have to go out looking for a new bull, and that's not easy with a Dexter breed. It's not like raising, say, Angus, where you can go down the road and find some decent bulls. We're looking for a top quality bull that's registered, that we're going to have to drive for. I'm just committed to kind of looking nationwide and finding a really good candidate to probably raise up from weaning age so that we can get them hand-friendly and used to being around us like our 2 bulls are now. They have such great temperaments. One thing relating to our cattle that I would like to work on is this winter pasture. So they have this yard, this kind of exercise yard, all winter long, and it's one of the low spots on our farm, always has been before all this was here. And then the water runoff from the roof of the barn has made it worse. It really doesn't have any place to go. The land's higher around it, and it's not easy to fix. I've looked at different solutions. Putting gutters on the barn roof is a potential solution, but around here, gutters on a metal roof on a building of that size is hard for upkeep. You have problems with ice and snow, and you have problems with them clogging up if there's any trees around. They're not easy to clean out. One potential solution is subsurface drainage, running tile underneath here and bringing it off to some low spots out in the fields, kind of spreading it out that way. That's a potential solution. I've thought about building it up, but that's very expensive as far as bringing fill in, and then you're just kind of pushing the water off to someplace else when you do that, and you've got to deal with a low spot someplace else. Putting in things like wood mulch or chipped wood is not realistic. You might start out with a nice layer and say, geez, I've really done a great job, but it's amazing how much organic materials rot down in the course of just a few years, maybe even less than a few years in this case, to almost nothing. We've fed hay out here in this field and thought, geez, we're raising it up before, and then you come back a couple years later and it's back down to the level it was. So organic material is not really a great solution. It's one of those things I've been pondering for years, and now that we've taken care of so much else with our cattle, it's something I would like to improve on. I got a tick in the fence back there. It's one of those darned orange insulators. I can't even remember the name of them. We've had all kinds of problems with them. Fencing's always a work in progress as far as learning things that work and don't work. And I've realized that this woven wire fencing that goes around our winter pasture, which I once thought of as the ultimate solution for fencing, is not a very good solution. It's awful expensive and labor intensive to put up, and it gets abused. Yes, you can run hot wires along the inside of it. And a lot of this fence is exposed to cattle from both sides, so I'd have to run hot wires along both sides of it to keep them from pushing at the fencing and stretching it out. But in the end, our cattle observe a 3-wire hot fence really well, and it would make a whole lot more sense, really, in a long-term perspective and cost and investment of labor and maintenance cost, to just have this be a 3-wire fence. It is what it is. I spent a lot of time putting it in, so it's going to stay here for now. But the other side's 3-wire, and it works great, and it took no time and almost no money to put up. Hi, Titus. How are you, bud? The last thing about cattle is output. Every year we're taking between 7, well, our highest year was 12 head to the butcher and selling them, of course, at the farmer's market. Direct to consumers, we do all things. Next are the chickens, the laying hens. Poultry has always been an outstanding business for us from all aspects, from ease of raising to profitability to kind of alignment with the way we want to pasture our animals. It's all there. Laying hens, selling eggs, I once calculated that we make 3 times the profit off a laying hen in a year as we do a broiler. So the broiler is kind of once and out, you sold for meat, but the laying hen produces eggs all year round. So if we had the choice, I guess we'd just be raising laying hens, but there's a limit to the demand of eggs. At one time we carried a little over 400 laying hens and sold all the eggs, and at times we would have a lot of eggs, but in the end we always sold them all. Now we're down to about 150, and as our farm is gradually ramping down, as Hillary and I get older, we're carrying fewer and fewer for ease of taking care of them and quantity of eggs and stew hens that we need to sell every year, because after 2 years these ladies go as stew hens as their egg production declines. And probably in the future we'll be tapering to 100, maybe going into end of 2024, 2025. But eggs are a good business. Of course, our other poultry consists of broilers, which are meat chickens, Cornish cross, that we grow only in the warm weather months so that they can be raised out on pasture. And turkeys, we grow a batch for primarily the Thanksgiving holiday. We've been cutting down on broilers, even though broilers remain a very profitable business for us. We do our own butchering. That saves us quite a bit of money in costs. And geez, they sell like hotcakes. And just as Hillary and I have been ramping down the farm over the past 3 years or so, we've been cutting down on the number of broilers that we raise. And I think last year we raised 700, and this year we may raise a few less. We only raised 30 turkeys. We used to raise at least 100 every year. The problem with turkeys, and Hillary and I are debating whether to raise them next year or not, is butcher time, because they're so darned heavy when you have to lift them multiple times to butcher. And the ordering system gets complicated because customers want a certain size and they pre-order, and you got to make sure you kind of try and hit that size, and then you have to arrange for pickup, and everybody wants to pick up their birds at different times. It's a lot of work, and so I'm not sure that we're going to be raising turkeys next year. It's under discussion. Billy, how are you? Brownie. You need dental work in front. Your teeth are not the greatest. That's, I guess, what happens when a pig gets old. Swine, pigs, porkers, piggers, hogs. We've been through this again and again, I guess, at this point. We're having a hard time making any money off of pork since grain prices more than doubled in the last couple years. Butcher costs have gone way up. I've been a bit stymied for it. I like raising pigs all right, but I just can't make money on them. And I can't raise my price. I exist in a competitive market. There's, a dozen other pork producers selling direct to consumer just like we are within our kind of buyer's radius, whatever, our marketing zone. And it's not like I can go out and raise my prices 30% to bring my profit back, because I'd be way out. I don't know how those other folks are making money, or maybe they're not making money. I have no idea, but I'd have to raise my prices a lot. So, as I've said many times, we're getting out of, sadly, the pig raising business. What would it take for us to stay in business? Well, besides raising our prices, I couldn't do it without revising the way we raise pigs dramatically. I don't have a problem with the way we raise them in the summertime when we put them out into a brush lot. They get to go mining out there for all the goodies. I do have a problem with this facility that we have here, the concrete floors, the pens. I don't like it at all. And I think I talked about this a year ago, that I won't continue raising pigs in these conditions. So we're kind of left raising what we have, 2 sows and a boar, and we'll grow out whatever piglets or sell off whatever piglets they produce, a combination of both. And then we're out of the pig raising business. I wish it wasn't so. And people said, well, pigs are popular on your channel. You should raise them for that aspect. That's a valid point, but it's just hard for me to say I'm doing something or engaging in an enterprise just for YouTube when I'm trying to portray as much realism as I can in what the small farmer faces as far as what's profitable and what's not profitable and how to do business. It's a real weird line. It's because you want to show things that are popular, but also, one of the reasons I'm not driving around shiny new equipment out in the fields is because that's not realistic for a small farm to make a profit, because your mortgage or whatever payment, your payment on the tractor eats up all your profit when you're at such a small size as we are. So low overhead is important. So with the pig thing, I keep revisiting it. And I'm open to comments. We've investigated going the feeder route and selling feeder piglets and discovered that's not really profitable either. And stock's hard to come by these days as pork production's become more and more centralized. It's just a tough nut, and so we're faced with slowly getting out of it. Speaking of old tractors, I kind of look at this as the 5th enterprise of the farm. Before the YouTube channel, I didn't at all. We used old equipment because I could get it cheap at auction. I knew how to fix it, and it really made the financials work on the farm. Since the channel started, I've realized how many people are interested in this old stuff and fixing it up, and it's resulted in a great increase in what I view as my hobby. When the channel started, we had the 656 and the H and the 504 and Super C here, all in various stages of originality or fix-uppedness, and we used them. That was the way our farm operated. The MD sat in the barn unused for 20 years, and the very first year of the channel, I realized that our farm is so seasonal, it's hard to provide content year-round because it goes so quiet in the winter. So I said, well, I'll try pulling a tractor in and doing a restoration on the channel. And it was great. It drew a lot of people, new people, to the channel who like to see that sort of thing, and that audience, of course, still exists. When I looked at, and I'm getting into the end of my video piece here a little bit in advance, when I looked at my kind of statistics on YouTube for last year, amazingly, out of the top videos, they were evenly split between 5 videos where I was out in the field using this old equipment, making hay or spreading manure. Those actually had the most views. And then they were sort of paralleled by the day on the farm working with animals at fairly even popularity. So there's a great viewer base for that. And this is a venture, this restoring these that I've gotten into that is kind of unique to YouTube. It's not something I would have been doing as part of a normal small farm venture. I would have just been running the old stuff and keeping it up as well as I could to just keep it running and doing its job. And now I've been able to get into restoration more, which provides content for the channel in the winter and makes me happy because it's one of my longtime hobbies. Those are our 5 farm enterprises, 4 animal enterprises, and 1 kind of YouTube enterprise that also comes back and benefits the farm in other ways. Having reliable equipment's always important. The channel's gone through changes ever since it started that first winter. I did a lot of topical videos, making up for the lack of farm work in the winter through talking about farm business issues a lot and the basics of raising animals in a small farm direct-to-consumer environment, talking about small farm profitability, which is a whole lot different. It's a different animal than large farm commodity farming profitability, trying to coach folks that were just getting into the business on how we had done it and been successful at it. I kind of ran the course with those videos. I think I covered so much territory in the first 2 or 3 years that winter became more of a time to focus on equipment and that 5th enterprise. Although I do know, I get a lot of feedback that there are certain people who just don't want to watch that. It's a completely different category in YouTube, right? Mechanics versus animals and farming. It's just the way my life is, and so I'm honest with what I'm doing in the channel. I can't go out and basically in the winter we're just doing chores twice a day, and it's pretty much the same day after day after day. I can't talk over that, you know, find a topic to talk over 3 times a week while doing the same thing over and over again. I know it can be done. I'm just not real interested in doing it at that point. So the channel changes, and it's going to change pretty soon. Maybe in the next video, as early as that, I'm going to get into the 856 restoration. I just need people to realize that the channel's cyclical like that. Every winter it does that sort of dance across into the mechanical and then back into farming in the spring. I really can't figure out any other way to provide content year-round. I had talked to a lot of what I would view as core audience folks at farmers market. I've met thousands of viewers that have come to the farmers market, and I always ask them, what type of videos do you like the most? And quite often I get the answer, all of them. Or if I get a husband and wife, sometimes it's traditional, you know, the wife likes the animals and the husband maybe more into the mechanical work, but mostly people say they like all the different kinds of content. And when you're in any business endeavor, YouTube is business for me, you want to pay close attention to your core audience. I've talked about that with farmers market, that those repeat customers, your core audience, are the people you really want to cater to. They're your bread and butter. And then other people will come and go, you know, during vacation season at farmers market, or when the students are here, or when they're gone. It's the same with YouTube. If you put out some fantastic once in a 5-year event on a farm, you'll get a broader viewer base. But you want to take care of your core viewers, and that's why you guys I want to take care of, the ones that'll sit down and listen to me jib-jab for 20 minutes or a half hour about this and that on the farm. I do appreciate you very much, and I want to keep you happy. I have also heard from people that they like having more than 1 video or 3 videos a month, 2 or 3 times a week, it seems like, is the norm for channels like ours, and I shoot for that, although December was an anomaly, and that brings me to why December was an anomaly. I had started making videos late in the year in November. Maybe it was November, where the manure spreader was one of the earlier ones, where I thought, rather than just making a video in a day and showing the work for that day, I thought it would be more interesting to bring a span of days into one video, so more progress could be seen. So even though I worked on the manure spreader a whole lot over the course of 3 weeks, I put it into 3 videos spaced out once a week. Whereas when I did an older project like the MD, I might have done 60 videos on the MD because each one was a day's work. In a way, showing a day's work is more honest in my mind because you can show, it's more people understand exactly what you can accomplish in a day. So I think I'm headed back to that format. The other reason I wasn't around as much in December was I just needed a break. After doing 2 or 3 videos a week for 4 years, I felt that the holidays were a good time to just take a break and recharge a little bit. And I was also busy with, we're still doing the cleanup around here, and I didn't feel those were real video worthy, so that's why I wasn't around much in December. No other reason besides that. No family issues, no health issues, nothing like that. Everything's good. I appreciate y'all being patient and hanging around and asking me if I was doing well. Everything is fine here. What else did I want to cover? Why no farmers market videos? I did a lot of them in 2022, and COVID was interesting to cover from a farmers market point of view, how the market changed when the food system was in all that uproar. That was interesting to cover. Farmers markets are really, really busy for me now, for the most part, because I get a lot of viewers coming. I'm just running most of the day. That's one reason. A second reason that I'm not doing them anymore is that it's hard for me to find a story in them. I need to have a unique story to make the video interesting for me to edit. I can't just show people shopping. There needs to be a theme or something, and they're few and far between. One market is pretty close to the same as the next. And the last reason is I always felt a little bit uncomfortable about filming the general public without asking their permission. When I had somebody on camera, like specifically like a specific customer or viewer or something like that, I would always ask them ahead of time. But filming the crowd, I'm not breaking any law, it just didn't feel right to me. So I may do a few farmers market videos here and there, but not to the degree that I used to. And I'm sorry about that. It's just all those reasons coming together. I guess that's all I wanted to cover with this video. Letting you know I'm going to be going into more mechanical work here for a while and looking forward to spring and getting back out on the fields. And I hope that you'll stick with me through that. I want you to be happy with what I'm putting out and realize that even when I'm doing mechanical work, I'll still be showing the animals. I always shoot to show them at least once a week here when I'm in the thick of mechanical work to do an animal-centered video. The other thing I heard, I'm rambling on here a little bit, is that don't mix the two, because for a while I would mix tractor mechanical work with animal, and it seems like there's a real line there. So you can provide your feedback, and I appreciate it on all that stuff, is the way that I threw it out there. I hope you have a great day. I plan on being more regular and sort of back to the old schedule with videos starting next week. I'll see you then.